Welcome, everyone. If I could have your attention, please. We're going to get started in a few minutes, so please start taking your seats for lunch. Thank you. You can keep talking. So I'm going to give everybody just a couple more minutes. I know we said we were going to get started at 12:15, and I think it's only about 12:10. So I did not mean to hush the room. Please enjoy yourselves and continue your conversations. We'll just give people a couple more minutes in case there's anyone coming who's just a couple minutes late. Thank you. So like just a couple minutes? Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Welcome to the 74th annual meeting of North Country Federal Credit Union. Yay! So our first order of business is to ascertain that a quorum is present.
The Secretary of the Board would request all members to raise your paddle. All members, raise your paddle. The Board Secretary has ascertained that there is a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now we'll move on to the minutes from last year's meeting. You have before you the minutes of the 73rd annual meeting held on April 20th, 2023. We do have a minor correction to the minutes that will be made, and we have a spelling of a name. Just wanted to point that out. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Okay. Anyone opposed? Great. Also included in the annual report before you are the audited consolidated financial statements prepared by our CPA firm, Clifton Larson Allen LLP. I will entertain a motion to accept the financial statements as presented. Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Raising your paddles. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Great. Also included in the annual report are the supervisory committee reports. Included in the annual report before you are the CEO, chairpersons, and supervisory committee reports. I will entertain a motion to accept these reports as presented. Thank you. Okay, and a second. Great. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. Anyone opposed? Wonderful. Okay, and moving on to the chairperson's reports. I am Beth Jeanette, chair of the board, for those of you that don't know me. Thank you for attending today, and also to those of you who are attending virtually. It's always great that we have the remote option for Zoom for people who aren't able to join us in person. Enjoy this wonderful lunch every year. So I'd like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to my fellow board members for the time and effort that they give to the oversight of this committee and this organization. We know that we have many demands on our time, and I thank you guys for the willingness to serve on this and volunteer for the credit union. So can we get a round of applause for our board members up here, please? And also a huge thank you to the employees and management who are on the front lines every day, who are making sure that our members have the best possible experience when doing business with us. So every year that passes seems to bring its own new set of challenges, and we all know that 2023 was no different. So I'd like to personally extend a huge thank you to our CEO and leader, Bob Morgan, for leading us through another successful year. All right. So now moving on to the election results. The nominating committee nominated a slate of candidates this year. There were no petitions to add to the ballot, so therefore voting is not required. So re-elected to 3-year terms are myself, Bethany Jeanette, Floyd Neese, who could not be with us today, Frank Thompson, and Paul Simon, who was nominated to fill a 2-year term. Okay. So thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask if there is any new business from the floor to present. No? Okay. So then we're going to move on to unfinished business. So last but not least, the unfinished business is to recognize our outgoing board member, Steve Kirby. Rarely has anyone in any industry reached the level of volunteer contribution and selfless giving that he has for North Country. Steve has been a volunteer with service to both the supervisory committee and the board for a staggering 47 years. Yes. As our outgoing board treasurer, he gives a uniquely historical perspective while having a deep understanding of current issues and the foresight to understand future challenges that the credit union may face. He's a firm believer in the credit union philosophy, our member-focused mission, and the culture of continuous improvement. I can assure you that nothing gets past Steve. Whether it's a complicated financial transaction or a menu of what's for lunch, he is our proverbial fine-tooth comb. His depth and breadth of knowledge, business acumen, and deep financial understanding has been invaluable. His insight and participation will be missed. In his professional career, Steve held numerous leadership and management positions with large defense contractors. In the community, he used his extensive computer system application experience to help design and develop labor collection, tracking, and state reporting systems for agencies that serve developmentally challenged persons. He has also served as a leader and certified instructor for local sports clubs. Steve and I would sometimes trade war stories about our corporate experience, and he always had great advice for me. In business, an old adage that you may have heard is that everyone is replaceable. And I know that Steve would agree with that. However, I am going to take this opportunity to declare that you, Steve, are officially the exception to this rule. You are definitely not replaceable, and you will be greatly missed. So at this time, I'd like to ask you and Bob to please come up.
Before I present this, I just want to say that I've benefited from my life through many mentors, and Steve certainly is one of those. It's a unique ability to ask really difficult questions and be consistently collaborative, searching for that best result at all times. And Steve has done that completely throughout the 24 years that I've known him, and on the board for the past 12 years and the supervisory committee before. This credit union greatly benefited from all his years of contributions. So this is from the board, so I'm going to hand it over to you and the mic.
Sure. So on behalf of the Board of Directors of North Country Federal Credit Union, we are pleased to present a donation to the Colchester Community Food Shelf in the amount of $2,500 in your name.
Do you want to say anything? Okay. All right.
Sure.
What's that?
I just want to make sure that we clarify the election results for the record. So for 3-year terms, it was myself, Beth Chenette, Floyd Neese, Frank Thompson, and Paul Simon. And then those are 3-year terms. And then Michael Peterson was elected for a 2-year term. And now I'm going to turn it over to Bob. Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to give the board just a second to go back so that they can enjoy lunch too, and I'll have a few remarks. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. My name's Bob Morgan. I'm CEO of North Country Federal Credit Union. It's an absolute pleasure to have you today, and I'm honored to deliver a few remarks to you. Before we start, I want to just take a few moments and thank three very special groups of people. First, our board of directors. They give so much time and effort in service of this credit union and really set our strategic direction. The supervisory committee. Think of it as the audit committee for the credit union, and their core purpose really is to ensure member and credit union assets are protected. And our planning committee. This is a group of staff members who are responsible for everything that you see here today or that you're seeing virtually. So please join me in recognizing their contributions to the credit union. Thank you. So like all annual meetings, we want to spend a little bit of time talking about results. We entered last year in excellent financial and operating condition, and 2023 was another outstanding year. We saw significant growth in members and loans and assets. Our financial performance was very good. And most importantly, we reached an all-time high in member service and member loyalty levels, as evidenced by our Net Promoter Score, which reached a 76. So on behalf of all the staff, the management, and the board of directors, it's my pleasure to share this good news with you today. Thank you. It is good news. So again, we entered this year in really excellent shape. And collectively, we determined our focus for 2024 would be delivering exceptional member experiences. Now, I want to tell you a story about an actual member and what an exceptional member experience meant to her. So one of our members was named Joan, and she had a difficult year the year before this. You know, Joan lives with her adult son. They live in an apartment. And her adult son had some medical challenges, and it caused him to miss some work, so they had a reduction in income, and it led to a series of financial difficulties. Joan was at risk of losing her apartment and being evicted. It got to the point where she was literally using payday loans just to get by on the most basic essential needs every single week. Clearly, Joan was operating from a point of financial distress. Here's what's important to remember, is that when you're in financial distress, it's not something you just feel when you look at your account or you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay your next bill. It's something that sits with you all the time and affects every part of your life. In Joan's case, she shared with us she was distracted at work and was worried about losing her job. Now, the good news is Joan reached out to us for help. Joan met with one of my very best staff members who looked at her situation, made some recommendations. We were able to restructure a few things and save Joan over $600 a month. This was the difference from financial distress to financial security. Hello. When Joan checked in with us a few months later, she said many parts of her life were better. She was sleeping better at night. Her health was better. And yes, she was now thriving at work. So that's Joan's story. But exceptional member experiences, while different, have certain things that are always in common. It involves convenient, timely access to your finances, tools, and information that will improve your life where, when, and how you need it. So that's what it has in common. But again, exceptional experiences are unique and individual to us. And that's what's so great about North Country, is we offer individual creative solutions. We take time to understand your situation and offer recommendations to help improve your life, to help you achieve your dreams or overcome your challenges. And we do that through a variety of channels. Our branches, digitally, member resource team, which is our contact center, and in community. So the branches are and remain a foundational member service strategy for North Country. They're great for human interactions. They're also really good for complex situations or tough problems. In fact, the story I told you about Joan, that all occurred in one of our branches. Now, the graphic that you see up here shows, towards the top, the branch that we opened last year and the one we're opening this summer. So in 2023, we opened a branch in Richford. It's a small community in Franklin County, right on the Canadian border. And this summer, we're really proud that we're opening our first location in New York State in the town of Morris. Now, here's what those two communities have in common. All other financial institutions left both of those locations within the past few years. That's what makes North Country different. We see opportunities where others don't. We believe in the power of communities, and we know by working together we can make a real positive impact. I'm so happy to say our Richford branch is absolutely thriving, and I have no doubt that our Moores branch will do the same. Looking beyond 2024, we're going to continue to look at opportunities to expand our branch footprint, specifically in Addison County, Orange County, and New Hampshire as we build out our branches throughout our field of membership. Members also experience North Country digitally. So at the end of last year, nearly 70% of members accessed their accounts online, 41% through the mobile app. And members completed, and this still amazes me, 2.8 million transactions digitally in our online environment. And it's essential to the experience that you receive. And that's why we're making very significant investments in our digital space in 2024. That includes a new digital account and loan application platform. It will enable greater efficiency, seamless end-to-end experience for members who are engaging with us digitally. We're also building in to both our online and our mobile platform a credit score tracking program that allows you to not only model changes in your credit, or not only monitor changes in your credit, but model how potential decisions might affect it. So really cool stuff. We're partnering with a company called Zogo. It's a real innovative company. It delivers financial literacy tools to young adults through games and rewards, and those are all going to be embedded within our digital environment. Our contact center, and we call it the Member Resource Team, this is all North Country employees. They handled over 177,000 calls and chats last year. Just a very significant effort and a very critical part to the service experience that we deliver. And that's, again, why we're making real significant investments in that channel this year, a new communications platform. It'll include greater efficiency, easier escalation, skills-based routing, better fraud protection. And what that means is when you call us, you'll get your issue or concern solved more quickly, and your experience will be that much better. And members also experience North Country and community. Now, these are pictures of financial reality fairs that we have done during the past year. A financial reality fair is an event that we do in partnership with a high school, where we invite in juniors and seniors into, again, an event where they make simulated life decisions that include financial choices and get to experience the consequences in a fun, safe learning environment. We have many staff who participate in this, and we're proud of it. And we're going to continue to do many more of these because our mission is to make dreams come true. And we know high school students have many, many dreams for what lies ahead in the future. But the only way those dreams become a reality is if they achieve financial literacy. And these reality fairs are one critical step in ensuring that that happens. Now, good news about when we deliver exceptional experiences, it also has real tangible benefits to the credit union. We see greater profitability, lower loan losses, greater efficiency, more rapid growth in member, and even higher levels of member satisfaction and loyalty. So our goal is to be your partner and to build financial empowerment through our communities. And the way we do that is delivering exceptional experiences to you, the member, one member at a time, one situation at a time, through all our channels, where and how you need it. And as we move forward, as we build these exceptional experiences, it continues to give us confidence as we get closer to truly achieving our mission, which is to make dreams come true for all by offering personalized financial solutions. We are inspired and empowered to do the right thing for our members and our employees. So, again, it's been my pleasure to deliver a few remarks to you today. I'm really excited to hear from our featured speaker in just a few moments, but I'm also happy to answer a few questions from the members. We have a question.
It's always a pleasure to come here and hear what you've been doing. My name is Gillian Franks, and I've invested a lot more money in the credit union this year. I'm interested in finding out if on your financial reality days you need volunteers from members.
That is an interesting question. We haven't ever thought of that before. It's so interesting. The person that, just the irony is this is great. The person who leads our financial empowerment efforts is seated right next to you. So I think Ariel and the leadership team will think about that. You know, and I'm just sort of thinking it through, but the idea is to engage in the community. So what are better opportunities to do that? In fact, the last reality fair we did in partnership with so many other folks. It was with CCV, it was with the State of Vermont Department of Financial Regulation, it was with VSAC. So we are integrating with the communities already. I think that's our intention. So I can't immediately see a reason why not. That is an interesting idea. We'll get your number, and Ariel's got it. Perfect. This wasn't staged, folks, but we'll take it, right? All right, cool. Thank you for the question, Jillian. Yes, we have a question over here.
Hi, thanks. My name's Darren.
Hi, Darren.
Been a member since, maybe like 1998. I was really excited about your map of the region and the expansion. And I was curious, what are the signals that you look for when it comes to deciding when to open up a new branch? So we saw one in New York, in Plains, Future South, and in New Hampshire, and one in the very top. And I was just curious, like, what are the signals you look for when you say this is the right place to invest in putting in another branch?
The two words I would use is impact and opportunity, right? So let's talk about those a little bit more. So, you know, what are the potentials in that market to kind of fill needs that aren't being served today, where we can go in and really make a difference? That is certainly part of the calculus. And the second one is, you know, opportunity. And by that I mean, it's, you know, if we have I know we have a member here from Morrisville. I was talking earlier, but those branches that we did in the mid-2000s that were kind of new construction are really expensive to build, right? So some of what we're looking for is where are opportunities we have to partner. In Richford, we partnered with the municipality. We're leasing our space from that community. And what are the opportunities to get in there at a lower cost structure to still add that footprint on and still be financially vibrant enough to offer the best rates and, be really competitive out there from a financial perspective as well. So those are the two pieces that come into play. Thank you. Really good question.
Thank you. This is a follow-up, I think, to the question that was just asked. When you see a community like the one in New York State where you said the banking institutions had just fled, how do we do things differently that fix it so we can be successful there when they could not?
Well, I think you can't do it on your own. You need people sharing the story with you. So opportunities to engage and partners with the community to have that momentum is really, really important. And, right now in New York State, we're looking at, how can we engage in the community? Who are our allies who can help us be successful? That's really been important in Richford, and it will be in Moores as well. And again, finding a way to do it to be honest, in a cost structure that makes sense. We're not putting in $3 million facilities in these locations. It's a pretty low cost structure with the very right number of employees in each location to offer the service that we need and have our break even make sense. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Bob. So I've been a member since 1986. I know I don't look that old. But what I want to say is I love the service that I've been getting. I would never think to move to any place else. But more importantly, I've also been the benefactor as the leader of a nonprofit organization from their CARES committee. And so without their contributions, or with their contributions, it just makes the lives of the people who we serve, who need a lot of help, that much easier. So I just wanted to thank the entire North Country crew for supporting Lund.
Thank you. And all the other, last year we donated over $600,000 to community nonprofits and partners like Lund, and it's a very important part of what we do. So thank you so much. I think we have time for maybe one more, if there is. All right, if not, then this is going to be the fun part. So I could give the usual introduction for our guest speaker, Suzanne Biro, that she's a co-founder of Sentira Leadership and has done TEDx talks and has been an executive coach for over 20 years and has, traveled the world and been a featured speaker and all those things. Or I could tell you my story, which I think is a lot more interesting. So I was fortunate enough to attend a credit union leadership event in early November of 2019. And Suzanne was one of several presenters that we had there, and we had a series of roundtables too. And I personally found her speech and some of the activities we got to do with her to be really, really impactful. And I thought to myself, this will come in handy one day. And then COVID hit 4 months later, right? And it seemed like kind of the world was turning upside down. And some of the messages and some of the practices that I learned in 2019 was just so helpful getting through that, and frankly, other difficult situations that we encounter. So Suzanne and I have stayed in touch since that time. And it was always my goal to get Suzanne here to address not only credit union management, all of our managers, which we did yesterday, but to share that with the community as a whole. So I am so thrilled to introduce Suzanne Biro to the stage, my friend who will lead us in a little journey today. So thank you.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction. I am so delighted to be here. I mean, what a honor to be in a room filled with like everyone from staff to managers to executives, board members, and business leaders. I mean, isn't it incredible that we can all be in the same room? Because this wasn't possible even just a couple years ago. It was really nice to be back in person. And I see all of you as well who are attending virtually, so I'm delighted you're all here. Now, as Bob mentioned yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak to the managers. And the message that I'm going to share with you today is the same message that I shared with the managers yesterday. And the reason it's the same message is because I have one thing that I think really will matter to each and every one of you attending today. See, for the last 23 years that I've worked as a coach, my real passion and talent, if I have one, is to identify key levers. Like, what's one key thing, either in an individual, in a team, or an organizational system? If we change that one or two key things, it would have the greatest potential to create a cascade of positive results. So I'm going to share one of these key levers with you today. Now, managers, if you are listening to this message again, I want you to really have a keen eye to hear it with a different set of ears of how you're going to make this real and relevant to you in your life and your work. And I have just one favor to ask as I deliver this message again, and that is that you continue to laugh at my jokes. See, look, it's already happening. I want you to laugh really, really hard, and you know why I want you to laugh? Any manager? Because, yes. Yes, someone who's been paying attention. When you laugh, you feel good, and when you feel good, you will outperform in everything. Now, if you're hearing this for the first time, please get excited because we have a very special session for you. It's a session I call Leadership for a New World, Champion Ourselves. So, welcome. So here's how we're going to spend our time together today. I'm going to take about the next 20 to 25 minutes to share a message to you. Then we'll transition to giving you an opportunity to actually take the ideas that I share and actually begin working with them. So we'll transition to a bit of a working session. Then we'll debrief briefly as a group, and then we might open the floor to any questions just as Bob did. So let's go. I know that some of you here are formal leaders by title, and you have a team of people reporting directly into you, and some of you here will be individual contributors, and some of you here not maybe consider yourself a leader in any fashion. What I want to impart in you, I believe it's imperative that every single one of us thinks of ourselves as a leader. And so I want to invite you to consider my definition of leadership, which is simply this. That leadership is the ability to work extraordinarily well with and through other people. And we do this best when we work up, down, across, and both inside and outside of our organizations, and hopefully also at home, that we lead the culture and tone of our families. So it's imperative that every single yourself as a leader, as someone who can and must direct the attention, energy, and talents of other people well. And again, do this up the organization, down, across, inside, and outside, and hopefully also at home. Now, I have one idea to share with you today. And it's an idea that is so simple you could easily dismiss it. My time with you is so very limited. And so as you should expect from a speaker like me, I thought long and hard about what I could impart in this very limited time that would have the greatest potential to advance you, your leadership, and your greatest future success. I have one idea and only one, but it's an idea that if you take it in, really take it in and work with it, and it will be work. It might be the only idea you need to improve your leadership and impact in ways that will absolutely matter to the work that you do. And if you take this idea and you apply it, you will also be happy to soon discover that we'll have the wonderful side benefit of improving virtually every other aspect of your life, your health, mental, emotional, and physical, in all of your relationships. Now, your biggest challenge in considering the merits of what I'm about to share with you will be to see if you can set aside your very natural adult human skepticism, to not only hear this idea, but more importantly, to take it in and to begin to apply it, and to do so right in today's session and then every day thereafter, because that's where the work comes in. So, without further ado, what is this one big idea? It is simply this, that nothing could matter more than you feeling good. So what do I mean? I mean that perhaps the most important thing that you will ever do is to learn to think thoughts that make you feel good. And by good, I mean that you feel whole, loved enough, valued, seen, recognized, alive, excited, and inspired. Perhaps the most important thing that you will ever do is to learn to think thoughts that make you feel good. That's it. That's the one big idea. Did you get it? Someone got it? Yeah. See, I think the truth is if we all really got this, and more important, we could apply it daily, myself included, we could probably end this talk now and move on to other business. It is why I think the Buddha laughs, silently mocking us. Now, as Bob mentioned in my wonderful introduction, thank you, for over 2 decades, I have had the honor of listening to the inner thoughts, concerns, frustration, and aspirations of thousands of leaders in some of our world's best companies and in many different parts of the world. And what I know to be true is that there's not a professional on the planet who wouldn't become ever more effective and successful by learning to focus their mind on better quality thoughts. So as we have the luxury of this time together, let's explore this singular idea together further, this one idea that maybe, perhaps the most important thing that you will ever do is to learn to think thoughts that make you feel good. And here's where we're going to begin. Now, to be transparent, what I'm going to do right now is hand you a collection of thoughts. These are thoughts that are true, thoughts that are based in reality. And I'll start with some basic things like you live in an incredible part of the world. It's my first time in Vermont. I haven't been able to see very much of it, but it's spectacular from what I can tell. On top of all of this, my guess is every single person here woke up this morning in a bed. And within an arm's reach, you have clean drinking water available to you and your loved ones. If you are here today, right now, not one of us is worried for our physical safety. If you are here today, you likely live in a condo or a house, maybe one that you own, maybe one that's really you have some money in your credit union account, and some of you perhaps quite a lot. And as you sit here right now, you have people in your life who you love dearly and who love you back. I mean, isn't it an absolute miracle that all the human beings who are alive on the planet right at this moment, that you and I have been blessed with so much abundance, health, wealth, and safety. And on top of all of this, each of you has the opportunity to learn, grow, and advance yourself, your career, and your quality of life for you and your entire family. See, if you are here today, you are a success. You're not going to become a success. You are a success. You are a fully functioning adult human being, a business-level professional, someone who has chosen to invest their time in showing up today and supporting North Country in various ways, in all the various ways that you do. A values-based company that seeks to serve tens of thousands of members, no doubt positively impacting so many more in the communities and businesses that you operate and serve. So well done. You have done exquisitely well with your lives. Please take a moment to take this acknowledgement in, as it is extremely important to your future leadership impact and success that you be able to do so. Why? Because what we do inside of ourselves, we will do with others out there. And if we cannot easily and often acknowledge, validate, and champion ourselves, we can never fully do this well for others. And in your various roles, both at home and at work, it's imperative that you can easily and often acknowledge, validate, and champion all those in your life. See, over the last 2 decades that I've worked with leaders, countless clients have shared some version of this with me. That for years I was driven and I drove myself with thoughts that I need to do more, be more, and have more. But the truth is these thoughts largely only had me be impatient, demanding, and critical of myself. This bad feeling then had me be impatient, demanding, critical, and overly controlling of others. The moment I learned to ease up on myself, virtually everything improved. Now, North Country wanted to make sure that every one of you attending here had an opportunity to learn, grow, and advance yourself in a way that would be deeply meaningful and personal to each of you. Because if the vision and mission of this wonderful credit union is to make dreams come true, then one of the best ways that each and every one of you will do that is to make your own dreams come true, as you also seek to make the dreams come true of your members and everyone you touch. So please know this next hour is about you, and it is for you. So let's turn our attention to you and your greatest future success. Now, I'm not sure if any of you here have noticed, but I'm particularly aware of it. Being an adult human being is hard. There is so much expected of us, both personally and professionally. The amount of information that comes at each of us these days is absolutely relentless and daunting and unprecedented. But the truth is, adult life, throughout all human history, has only always been filled with an endless array of problems, frustration, and deep personal losses. See, I don't think there's ever come a time in my life when either myself or someone I know hasn't been dealing with something significant on top of their vast professional responsibilities. Whether, relationship issues at work or at home, concerns with our children and or other family members, health concerns of our own, illnesses or death of those we know and love, divorce and its vast implication to our lives, and then downright scary and overwhelming and unprecedented world events, and I'm sure many of you could share the same. See, there's something we don't often talk about at annual general meetings, but I think it's useful that we take it out every once in a while and look at it, and it is this, that to be human is to be vulnerable. And it is to witness the stripping away of almost everything we care about. That is the human journey. It's the one that we share. See, first it's our own youth. Then as we reach the tail end of our careers, our own relevance and our own health. And if we live long enough, we witness the loss of so many that we know and love. And yes, this is the uplifting part of this talk. This is where you laugh. Here's the truth. Most of us have always lived with a constant unease within ourselves daily. See, we ask each other, how are you? I'm fine, we say. Never mind that most of us are filled with thoughts of stress, anxiety, fear, and concern. And the word filled in this context is more telling than most of us are aware, because what are we filled with? Our thoughts and our feelings. Now, this constant unease is a terrible way to live our one and only precious life. See, personally, I care about how you feel as you live your life and handle the million and one things that are required of you. Why? Simply because your life matters to me. Where most people see a high-functioning business professional, community member, I see a human being who's working day in and day out to hold it all together and to serve everyone around them well. It also just happens to be that you feeling good will make you a significantly better leader for the people you work with and through, because how you think and how you feel is impacting everything you do and how you do it. And you impact and touch so many. Each of you is kind of a big deal to the people in your life. You change how people feel about themselves and then what they do. And so you're a leader in that sense. See, your ability to focus your mind on all the beauty, joy, and success that exists in your life today will make life wonderful for you. And when you feel that life is wonderful, you will be great with other people. Present, available, encouraging, and inspiring. And since everything still largely gets done through human relationship, it really does matter that you learn how to feel good and wonderful daily, because when we get squeezed with the pressures of leadership in life, the only thing that can come out of us, the only thing, is what's playing out on the inside. And squeezed we are, and quite frankly, squeezed we are only going to continue to be. See, in 2019, I had the good fortune to attend Singularity University's executive program. And it was just around the time that I'd met Bob. And for a rather intense 6 days, we studied exponential technologies and how they're changing how we live, work, play, and how money will soon move around this planet. And since that time, I've been invited to join a very small mastermind cohort with a gentleman named Peter Diamandis, who is a world-renowned futurist. It's just a small group of CEOs, executives, founders, and entrepreneurs where we continue this study to be at the leading edge of what new technology is coming and what does that mean for our lives and what does that mean for my clients' lives. And I mention this only to say that I'm currently drinking from a fire hose, as I'm sure all of you are. The pace of change has only begun, and it will only continue to accelerate such that so many times someone will ask Peter a question, and he says, I really don't know. No one really knows what the future holds, and this is really unprecedented. Every single expert that comes to lecture to us, but whether it was in 2019 or today, cites that the pace of change is coming so fast that the key skills for the future require adaptability, empathy, and compassion. And I would argue in order to be able to extend those to others and create organizational cultures and systems in which they are lived, we must be able to first extend them inwardly to ourselves. So see, it just might be that the most important thing that you will do is to feed your mind a diet of good feeling thoughts daily, so that you have the inner resources to not only handle the numerous challenges and changes that are being thrust upon us, but hopefully to be able to do so with greater humanity, grace, and connection. And the more you feed your mind a diet of good feeling thoughts daily, the more this would become a natural way for you to think, feel, and experience the world, and then something magical happens. As one client shared with me at the tail end of our engagement, he said this, there used to be a lot of jerks in my world. I don't know where they all went. And here's why something like this can occur. As you may know, the scientific community used to believe that our brains were set by the age of 30. However, we now know that this is not the case, that in fact our neurons grow and recede according to use throughout our entire lives, such that the more I think a thought, the more I will think that thought, and it's by repeating a thought I strengthen that neural connection and build in a very real way the physical structure of my brain. Dr. Jeffrey Schwartz is a leading brain researcher, and he has a fascinating body of work, all housed in a book called The Mind and the Brain, Neuroplasticity and the Power of Mental Force. And in it, he has this that the human mind, by choosing which aspect of an experience to give attention to, has the power to change the physical brain. So see, it really does matter what we choose to think, as we are quite literally building our brains daily with each and every thought. Now, so what? What does this have to do with you and your role and your contribution to North Country? And it is a very good and valid question. So let's turn our attention to some research to ensure that such a simple idea, the singular idea that perhaps the most important thing that you will ever do is to learn to think thoughts that make you feel good, has relevance in your life and in your work and in business leadership in general. Now, over the last 21 years, the Leadership Circle organization has surveyed more than 155,000 leaders in more than 25,000 organizations, 246 countries, and 65 different industries. From this database, what they have found and concluded is this, that currently about 70 to 75% of some of our most highly educated senior level leaders, organizational leaders, lead from what they call a reactive level of mind. It is one that, when squeezed with the pressures of leadership and life, responds primarily by protecting, being critical, arrogant, or distant, being overly controlling, autocratic or overly driven, or complying, going along to get along, being conservative or pleasing. This reactive level of mind or way of thinking matters, because it is strongly correlated with leadership ineffectiveness and diminished business results. Currently, only about 20 to 25%, again, of some of our most highly educated senior level organizational leaders lead from what's called a creative level of mind or way of thinking. It is one that, when squeezed with the pressures of leadership and life, responds primarily by having a caring connection of those they work with and through, by relating well to others, leading with composure, and integrity, having self-awareness, recognizing that what I do and how I do it matters. One that is courageous, able to be authentic, and to be able to take a stand on things that matter. One that is aware of the system and the community at large. One that is strategic, visionary, purposeful, decisive, and therefore outperforms. Again, this creative level of mind or way of thinking matters, as it is strongly correlated with leadership effectiveness and better concrete business results. Now, if you want to learn more about this important body of work and research, and I strongly encourage you to do so, it's one of the, if there's one book to read, it's really this one, called Mastery in Leadership by Bob Anderson and Bill Adams. And if you don't have time to read the book, what I want you to consider is that truly effective leadership, your ability to work exceptionally well with and through other people, up the organization, down the organization, inside, outside, and with everyone that you work with at home to enjoy your family, requires a way of thinking and identity that sounds something like this. I like who I am. I know that I am a success. I'm really great at a couple things I do really, really well, and then I'm really bad at just about everything else. And that's just fine. There's so many bright, smart, talented men and women around me. I don't need to look smart, be right, know all the answers, or go it alone. I love leading, and I love authorizing others to lead. I like working with and through other people to create exceptional results. It's an inner identity that says, I'm good. I got more than enough inside. And so I was able to come to others and to the organization every day, focusing themselves on asking these kinds of questions. Who needs me today? And what do they most need? What are the talented men and women that I will work with and through today? What are they most hungry for? And how can I give it to them? And because I'm still a human being, what do I need to do today to take exceptional care of myself so I can bring my best and highest self forward for others? See, leaders who think this way and focus their mind in this way easily outperform those who do not. They create a caring connection of those they work with and through. They are self-aware. They are aware of the system. They are courageously authentic, purposeful, visionary, decisive, and they outperform leaders who do not every single time. Now, it would be my guess that given the vision of making dreams come true and your values of confident, caring, and creative, and your very desire to be the most loved financial institution, that there would be a significantly greater number of you here, if we were to assess you, that would fall into the top 25% of truly effective creative level leaders. And if that's true, I want you to know that will be your greatest competitive advantage in the future. And if, as I described some of the reactive tendencies as far as controlling, protecting, or complying, you can also see that when squeezed with the pressures of leadership in life, you can also exhibit those behaviors. I'd say, welcome to the human race. You get to be one of the mortals along with the rest of us. All of us can be highly reactive. And the way that we become more creative is not by berating ourselves or criticizing ourselves internally endlessly, but it's by taking the voice of the inner critic and turning it into that of an inner champion. Because again, what we do inside of ourselves, we will do with others out there. So the idea that I'm proposing today is I want you to care about how you feel, and I want you to be intentional in the thoughts you allow your mind to think. It is my experience that very successful people can be particularly hard on themselves inwardly. And it's a quality of mind, it's a rehearsed quality of mind that maybe served you up until a point. But what I want to invite you to consider is that now something else is required to get to the next level. You have to take that voice, that inner critic, and again, it has to become an inner champion, because what you do inside of yourself, you will do with others out there. Now, the idea that your thoughts matter is not a new idea. In fact, this idea is timeless. Lao Tzu, the ancient 15th century philosopher, said it this way, that my way is so simple, so easy to apply, that only a few will ever feel it or apply it. See, the idea that I'm proposing today cannot remain an idea. If it does, I'm afraid nothing of any great significance will change for you in your experience of life. Not really. So I want to give you an opportunity to take this idea, this one idea that perhaps the most important thing that you will ever do is to learn to think thoughts that make you feel good and actually make it real. So we're going to do that right now. Aristotle said, the soul never thinks without a picture, and I couldn't agree more. On your tables, you will find there'll be 2 photo card decks. Here. What I want you to do is at your tables, I want you to actually look through. I'll give you these instructions before you grab them, because then I'll lose you. And for everyone online, you have a link to do this exercise. Here's your instructions before I lose you. I want to give you 5 minutes, when I give you the go-ahead, to look through these photo cards. And your instruction is really simple. I want you to quickly pick one photo card that creates a good feeling for you. No need to overthink it, just pick one. Then I want you to take that photo card and I want you to place it in front of you. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to write down as many good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as that one image could ignite in you if you would let it. Again, before you head off, I'll give you an example. I did this exercise this morning. It's an exercise I do often. Here's the card I picked. Who doesn't love Lego? Unless you step on it. So I would quickly pick this card and I would place it in front of me, again, which I did this morning. And here's some of the good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as came to my mind as I looked at this one image. I remember getting Lego one special Christmas when I was around 10 years old, when my parents were still alive. And how great it is to get this incredible box of Lego and how many things you can build. And Lego is one of these beautiful things that all the pieces are different. And we need difference to build anything exciting. Can you imagine a box of Legos with all the same color and all the same pieces? You can't make anything interesting. And it really reminds me that's what we do in organizations every day. We take people's gifts, talents, and potential, and hopefully we harness that well. These are some of the good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as an image like this could bring to my mind. It is now your turn. I want you to do this exercise in silence. You have 5 minutes. Pick your card and write down as many good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as this one image could bring to your mind.
Write on the back, or where do you write on the back?
Oh, you can write on the back, yeah. Yeah, and you can get one with a blank back if you want to. I'll get you something. For those of you who don't have anything to write on, there's many of the cards are blank on the back, and so you can write on the back. And these cards are yours for you to take and keep. Did you get one? Okay. please take one more minute? Okay. I asked you to do that because, again, an idea cannot remain an idea. It's either active in our lives or it isn't. And what I'm asking you to do is to be intentional in where you direct the focus of your mind. There's so many good things that we miss daily in our pursuit for solving problems. And we benefit greatly by just having more of a balanced approach than most of our human mind. You know, the human mind tends toward the negative. So you've already begun to take this idea and make it real. And one of the ways that we do that best is by taking an idea from a thought that we think and writing it down on paper is one way we make things real. It's why journaling is so powerful. Another way that we make things real is by voicing them out loud. And so I want to give you just a short amount of time to find a partner. I just want you to find someone that you're sitting beside. And I want you to take a couple of minutes each to share with a partner. And here's how I want you to do this. Find a partner, someone decide to go first, share the photo card you selected, and then share all the good, exciting, inspiring thoughts that one image brought to your mind. If you're listening, going to be listening, you might ask them a question or two, but largely listen and witness the other. Then I want you to switch roles. I'll let you know when we're about halfway through, and it will be all about the other person sharing their card and what they wrote down. Any questions? So you'll have about 5 minutes total. It's not a lot of time, but I do want to give you an opportunity to verbalize it. For everyone that's here virtually, what I want you to do is I want you to think during this time of who you could do this exercise with and who you could share it with. And I want you to make a plan or reach out to that person in this time so that you have an opportunity to verbalize it to another. It's another way that we make things real for ourselves. So find a partner to share.
Belt pack to the front of you because your body is kind of blocking.
Is that what's happening? Because I
Yes.
keep cutting out.
There's
I'm like,
a little bit
oh,
of drop
man.
out, yeah. So we're going to move you
Thank you.
side there.
I was trying to ignore it. Did it sound bad?
No, it sounded fine. There was just a couple of
I
moments of drop
know.
out.
I could feel it.
So we raised the
please take another minute to finish? Okay. It is wonderful to see so much engagement. See if I can get control of the room back. I have no control. Thank you. I always hate breaking it up. It's so wonderful to hear the engagement. It's literally why I do this work. When I send you off and I just see you guys engaging and talking, it's everything. I would love to hear from some of you as to what has this been like, this application of this idea. Would anyone be willing to share? Yeah.
So, I had a really bad day recently, and yesterday when I was sat in that meeting, you brought back to mind kind of the way I used to show up. Thinking these things and feeling these things and expressing these things. And thank you for bringing it back. The nice thing about having a really bad day before this is it was a perfect setup for me to really embrace and appreciate it. And because of that, and I'll encourage all of you as leaders, when you fall, perceive to real when you fail, and you will, it's okay. Pick yourself up, what does the song say? Dust yourself off and start all over again. And don't forget the lessons. Lean into those hard places and learn. And because of this experience and the back on the mountaintop piece, I feel reset. So I thank you for that. And it's helped me to have a really wonderful meeting with 10 of our mid-managers that couldn't be here this afternoon coming off of that experience. And it was one of the best meetings we've ever had. So thank you so much.
Oh, how wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And here's what's really key about that is we all fall. We all have bad days. Things don't work out for us. It's not the human journey where things work out for us all the time. I'm not sure if you've noticed. And I think we're meant to hold each other up, and I think we're meant to remind each other. And I teach what I most want to learn. What's so wonderful about Bob bringing me in so that all of you can hear this message at the same time is you can do that for each other. Because you'll see when someone is reacting, and what it means is they're not well. They're squeezed with the pressures of leadership in life, and they can't respond well, and that's okay. You can be ever more loving and kind to them, and by doing that, they will know how to do it within themselves. And that's, I think, what we're meant to do. So thank you so much. Anyone else want to share? What was this like? What did you get out of it? Was it easy? Was it hard?
So, not to go too into depth, but I struggle with rumination due to various neurological issues. So this exercise was a bit difficult for me, but I really appreciated the chance to intentionally focus on positive thoughts and remind myself that there are a lot of things that make me happy and make me thankful. So I'm grateful for that, and it was an excellent exercise. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so delighted. Thank you. Are you sharing? No. Oh, okay. Just some tea. Anyone else want to share anything? What this was like?
Yeah.
Hi. I was just surprised that my partner and I had similar things to share, even though we're coming from completely different backgrounds. And that reminded me that we're all caught up in the world with so many things to do, and something like this can bring our focus back to what might be more important.
So here's the thing. It is my experience and belief that the human mind will tend toward the negative. It's what human minds do without training. And then some of us are really trained in our profession, whether we're trained in engineering or law or finance. We're trained to look for what's missing or what's not working or what's broken. And so it's some of our actual professional training as well. And so this is an exercise that I really want to invite you to do more than just once. Just like with the physical body, we can't just do one sit-up and have a really strong core. It's something we do daily. And almost every single client that I work with, every truly successful client has some sort of practice where they make this real, because what you are doing is you are training your brain. And what I think is really exciting about this work, I have actively done this on myself since 2016, where I made a decision that I was just going to give more of my internal attention to everything that was good, beautiful, and what was working in my life. And I tell you, when you do this work, the machine starts to take over. It's not that there isn't problems. The world is filled with problems, and leading is just dealing with problems. But your experience of the world will fundamentally change in ways that I can't even begin to describe to you. So I want to give you a practice to make this real. And the practice is very similar to what you did, but it's what I call a daily morning practice. And I want to invite each and every one of you to take the next month and just do this. It takes 5 minutes in the morning. Do it for a full month before you judge whether it has any relevance or value to you. So the practice is this: set aside 5 minutes, take 5 minutes every morning. If it's useful for you, set an alarm on your phone so you don't have to worry about time. Then what I want you to do is get yourself a journal book that you want to write in. And for 5 minutes, what I want you to first do is write an intention for the day. Like, who do you want to be today as you handle the 1,000,001 things that are required of you in your day life and in your job and in your role? So you might say, I want to be really present to the people in my life today. Or I want to be warm and approachable or encouraging and inspiring. So set an intention. Who do you want to be? What's your intention? And then I want you to take the remainder of the 5 minutes and I want you to write down as many good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as your day could hold for you if you were to only let it. There's so much good in our lives that we brush right past. If those things were taken away, that would be all that we would care about. So I just want you to bring some balance to your mind. Then what I want you to do is take that journal book with you, and at least once during the day, take it out and reread what you wrote to ground yourself in it. My invitation is do it just before lunch so that you know you're going to do it. Do a practice like this for a month before you judge whether it has any value for you. Because whatever you do, please do not dismiss a practice like this or an idea like this as Pollyanna or overly simplistic. I promise if you are diligent in this work, really diligent, your life and leadership impact will unfold for you in ways you can't even begin to conceive of at this time. Because here's the thing, the world is changing faster than ever before. And in order to thrive, leaders are going to need to champion themselves in ways I know most leaders are not yet skilled at doing. Successful people are very hard on themselves. And to deal with all the changes coming, we're going to need to champion ourselves in ways that most of us are not trained at doing. But if you can learn to do this within yourself, you will then be easily able to extend it to others. And you will do so well under pressure, and then you will become a magnet for talent. I mean, people will love working with you under your leadership, and you will find yourself having the time of your life trying to create exceptional results for your members and in all the work that you do. Because making life better is the only purpose of leadership anyways. It's been really an honor to be with all of you today. We are Centrina Leadership. We believe that leading with love wins, but only always. And it starts with the love and care we give ourselves. I'm so excited to have been here. I want to open the floor to any questions you might have about this idea, anything that you want to know, because we have some time. Any questions?
If we share an email with you, would you share with us your slide deck?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give it. I'll give it to Selma, and she can distribute it. Yeah, you bet. It's also been recorded, so you'll have that, and you can share it.
We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Back to your good news slide of the footprints on the beach, right? When we all are going through those life journeys and have those large, significant, stripping away moments, that how do you stay on track with stuff like this during, when that's all happening, when you get really bad news?
My personal method is to cry. We could allow ourselves to feel bad, because the human journey is not one of pretending we don't feel what we feel. In fact, we're more powerful when we feel what we actually feel. And there's so many times, we're all walking the same journey. The details of our journey change, but it's an arduous journey. Just being a human being, never mind seeking to lead at the level that many of you do. So, one, we can just allow ourselves to feel what we feel bad, eat a bunch of bad food, pick your vice, and then get on with this work. Because when you train your brain in the good times, to look for everything that's beautiful, good, and working now, because you will fundamentally grow your brain in a very different way. And one of the ways we know this is when you interact with people in your life next, watch what they share with you and how they share it, because that will be their worldview. Like, there's people that always complain. So their life is one where nothing's working out for them, but it's a repeated habit of thought. It's nothing other than a repeated habit of thought. Or people who are always happy or happy to see you, or always have something positive to say. They've simply rehearsed something else. Life is still happening to them. So what can we do? We can do our sit-ups in good times. And then when all hell breaks loose in our life, which it's going to. Life is coming for each and every one of us. But we have each other, so we can rely on each other. And when we build our brain well, really, really build our brain well, we can sustain most of it. And we're going to have compassion and care for ourselves, much as we would have for anyone else. That we might look at ourselves, as the hero in our own journey. And to go, wow, here's this leader really struggling with this global pandemic, trying to serve, and everything's falling apart. What do I do? And you can really have compassion for that human being. If we're watching the film, that's what we do. So we do the same thing to ourselves. It's a wonderful question. Any other questions before we conclude?
How do you personally approach someone who's very negative that you keep coming across as you try to be positive?
Such a great question. 2 ways. One is I allow them to be who they are. When we let other people be who they are, and I don't need you to be different, you usually feel unconditional. This was Carl Rogers in the 1960s. Wrote a book called A Way of Being, and he's really the father of executive coaching. And he said, if I can just be with another person with unconditional positive regard, just love them for who they are, they feel it and they respond to it. Usually human beings don't change until they are accepted exactly as they are. And so if you accept other people exactly as they are, they will often change. And you don't even need them to change, because you don't need them to be okay. The other thing that I do as a coach is I don't allow my client to stay there, or family members. I will point out a pattern of a habit of thought, or I will redirect the conversation sort of underneath the surface, somehow to allow them to start to practice a different quality of thought. Because we don't serve people when we allow them to repeat endless stories of how they're the victim. And it doesn't mean horrific things haven't happened to some of us. They really horrific things that could have broken most people, and that could really break our hearts if we actually listen to the stories that everyone has lived through. So, 2 ways, right? Let them be who they are, love them anyways, and then love them so much that you don't allow them to stay the way they are, and see if you can do that by verbalizing it with them and pointing it out. If they're not open to that, then do it underneath by simply changing the nature of the conversation. And one of 2 things will happen. You will be so annoying they will leave you because I can't stand that person. Or they will actually start to mimic what you do. We start to usually have resonance with someone else. And that's how you can lead the tone of every single relationship you're a part of. You don't allow people to rehearse quality of thought that won't serve them. It won't bring any happiness, and it won't serve any useful outcome. Thank you for the question. It's really good. Is there anything else before we conclude?
Thank you. Just curious, you picked up where you left off.
Yep.
Just picking up on that thought, do you have any examples, real life examples, of where somebody's thought process has brought it to the attention of another person, of their habits or how they're reacting to certain things or how they're feeling about things, that has actually changed that person's behavior?
Oh, yes, and it's the fine art of how we do it, and choosing our time and our language and the conversation very well. I have on our blog, there is a piece we had published in Credit Union Management or CU Times. It's called Real Conversations, the 5-question worksheet. If this is of interest to you, read it. All our posts are about 3-minute reads. In it, it will say, here are 5 questions to answer to take the conversation that's happening in your mind, i.e. You're negative a lot, and it's actually having an impact on our team, and it's not serving you, and it won't serve your career success, and it matters, and I want to advance you. And so you're going to answer those 5 questions that are listed there, and your answers to those questions will be the conversation you want to share almost verbatim with another, because it's the full conversation. Because the only reason you would be having that conversation, it's a risky conversation, it's uncomfortable. I think we only confront other people to the extent that we really care about them and their success. So you would have this conversation and say, look, I'm nervous about this conversation. Yeah, I might even think, I don't know who I am to actually have this with you because I really respect you. But I've noticed this pattern in the way that you're thinking, and I think it's going to limit your effectiveness, and it's certainly impacting our team. And I want to point it out to you so you can see it. So here I go. You may be, and they're going to react with you sometimes exactly how they always react. And then you can use immediacy. There's another post on our blog called Immediacy. They're going to do it right with you, and so you can say, it's happening right now. As I try to share this feedback that's hard for me to share to make you better, you're reacting to it in the exact same pattern. Do you see it? And don't worry whether or not someone accepts it right in the moment. If your heart is good and your intention is good, that's success. I shared this with the best intention to make everyone around me, up, down, across, both inside and outside the organization, better. I shared it with love, I shared it with care, and if they reacted strongly to it and they won't accept it, that has nothing to do with me. I did all I could, but I didn't sell out on them. I didn't hold back because I was afraid of their reaction. I came here to make everyone around me better, and so again, the fine art is doing that, finding the fine art, when to do it, how to do it, but that one article will be very, very helpful. So it's called Real Conversations, the 5 Questions Worksheet. Thank you for the question. So, okay, one more and then we're going to conclude. Oh, yeah.
I like what you just said, but when I get around to approach somebody to confront them about something like that, such as you were explaining, I don't see it as what I'm doing is going to make them better. I see that there's a difference between them and me. Mm. How do I know that what I'm doing is going to make them better?
Oh, that's a great question. I think you trust your instincts. You can see how they behave and the impact they have and the results they get. And if you think you can be helpful to them in their life or their career, then who are we not to speak up and make everyone around us better? And we'll do it with love and care and appropriateness. Most of us aren't speaking up. And real conversations are not just about sharing the changes that we think others could make that would really improve something. There are so many good things about each and every one that we work with that we simply never share, that we could also have the real conversation. And so if we balance that out, then we go to have a real conversation on something we want changed. It comes out more easily and it's more well received because we've got more in the relationship bank account. So find lots of ways to share and acknowledge each other. Like, you spoke up in that meeting and you shared a dissenting point of view, and I thought it was really courageous because we all were going to move forward, and if you hadn't spoken up, we wouldn't have dealt with that one issue. I was really impressed by that. Like, why don't we share things like that more often? That's a true acknowledgement. So find ways to have the real conversation, both on things that people are doing exceptionally well that you really admire, and also on things that you think that they could be better improved. How will you know? The answer is you're just going to have to trust yourself and see. There's no simple answer. But I think success is always that we went for it, that we were courageously authentic. So thank you for letting me be with all of you. Bob, thank you for inviting me back. I feel so honored to have been here.
And once again, thank everybody, thank all of you for joining us for our 74th annual meeting. This is fantastic. This concludes our annual meeting, and I hope everyone has a terrific rest of the day and rest of the week. Thank you again.